Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boils and ghouls. American Gnome Recordings presents the Noir Deep Sessions, Night 2, featuring John Doss.
Hello.
You dream of fire in the grate, coruscating colors shimmering through the dancing tongues of flame. At first, they're tiny, almost microscopic, but they grow and grow until a kaleidoscopic inferno spills from the fireplace, spreading across the floor, up the sheets. You wake with a start.
Oh shit, I gotta stop drinking.
Daylight glints through the curtains. Get up and examine the grate, blinking the sleep from your eyes. It's quite cold.
Oh, damn it! Freezing!
May seems to have no running water, but has supplied some in a ceramic jug. You freshen up at the washstand and go in. She cooks a hearty breakfast and leaves you in peace to eat. At about 7:30, you're paid up, packed, and ready to go. You bid May goodbye, and she wishes you the best for your new career in Arkham. You are already tired of your heavy bags. Hopefully Silas has repaired the motor coach and you can resume your long journey. A sourpuss he might be, but the old driver seemed to understand his vehicle well enough. You pause to check your watch, still 20 minutes early, and round the final corner. The motor coach is gone. You throw your bags down and search the area, trekking up and down slopes and around corners. At the edge of the village, you trace the long road back as it winds across the hills. 8 o'clock comes and goes. There is no coach to be seen. A passing villager notices your bags on the ground. "Oh, looking for the bus? I heard him take off about first light." He's, I don't know, due back in about 3-4 days? If you need a place to stay, May Ledbetter rents a room. The man raises his hat to you and strolls on into the village. You curse Silas under your breath. You curse him so much. Perhaps he went for parts. But you do wonder if that old goat has stranded you here on purpose.
That goddamn son of a...
May's doing laundry and looks surprised to see you again. "Aw, did you forget something?" When you explain the situation, she offers to store your bags while you try to arrange alternative transport. And you're quite grateful to put the bags down again. Nobody has anything like a car here. She strokes her chin and narrows her eyes. Maybe you can get maybe you could find somebody with a horse and cart for your bags. I could ask around later. Try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He would know if anyone would. Or you could ask him amongst the artisans. Their workshops are first left on Silbury Street. She reaches over and she squeezes your wrist. "Don't worry, I won't see you sleeping in the street, money or no." And you thank May and you turn to face the village again. So, as you wander the streets of Emberhead without any particular destination in mind, you notice that the village is built on a relatively flat upland with splendid views. To the north, the hazy tips of the White Mountains reach for the heavens. To the south, the sparkling waters of Lake Winnipesaukee touch the horizon, so there is some water there. Not like ocean, but there is some water there. The village itself takes less than 5 minutes to cross from edge to edge. You arrive on the winding road to the west. The only road leads to the south, following a lower ridge of land as it turns east. In the southwest of the village, an open grassy space borders a ruined church, its graveyard cresting the cliffs. To the northeast, The three main thoroughfares meet at a raised black metal structure. It looms stark against the blue sky. And as you look at this splendid view and consider your options, you can, if you would like to, you can go down to the general store and see about getting some transportation out, or maybe getting some communication out, or you can go down to the village hall, or you can walk down to the lower level and check out the eastern road, or you can go and check out this imposing looming metal structure in the center of town. You can explore the church, or you could look for local people with their own transport needs. What would you like to do? Excuse me.
The illuminating building.
The church?
What was
Or
it?
are you talking about the metal structure?
The metal structure.
Okay. So as you walk up the approach, the most central of the village's major streets, it points directly at the odd metal structure. As you emerge from the shade of the nearby buildings, you are greeted by a magnificent panorama spread from north to the southeast. The last colors of fall tint the hills in sleepy gold. This structure, this behemoth of a metal structure, by contrast, is uncompromising iron, singed black. It supports an immensely curved platform at the level of your head, sort of like a half moon, sort of. Further struts snake up to a central point. It looks like there may have been some kind of sculpture at one point, but now it's just a twisted and mostly melted beyond recognition. An older gentleman passes, looking up at you with rheumy eyes.
Oh, are you here for the festival?
Yeah, he asks. And he takes his cane.
That's the beacon. When they light it, night after next, you'll be able to see it 10 miles away.
Gives a little nod and another point of his cane, and then moves on, hobbling away on his cane. And now you sort of notice these bundles of wood, stacked, tied and stacked against the building very neatly nearby. Perhaps this festival would be an interesting diversion, but you've already been here for the night, and you were supposed to be well on your way yesterday. And thoughts of Arkham, like they kind of want, make you want to get, leave as soon as possible. I would like you to look at your spot hidden stat. And make a roll. Spot hidden would be right there.
50.
Yeah, so 50 or below.
That's a 60.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, after you finish taking in this view, you have some other options. You're beginning to get your bearings in Emberhead. So, would you like to go check out the general store, the village hall, walk down to the lower level.
General store.
Okay. The general store is right here. It's a nice little place for a small town, but there's not a whole bunch there. The general store is on a corner beside the main road, just before it plunges down to the south. The shopkeeper is a brisk, immense lady with a starched apron and strong shoulders. She looks hard at you with an unfamiliar. She looks hard at your unfamiliar face. Transport? Huh? What you want? Are you looking for a way out of here? There's a motor coach that comes by through about twice a week. Well, you missed it. The truck brings my supplies in here about, I don't know, about every second Tuesday. But he's, now that I think about it, he's not doing about, next week? She kind of shrugs at you and goes back to her fucking sweeping. It pretty much seems that Emberhead is content to keep its distance from the outside world. You've got enough money to buy one or two inexpensive everyday items. It's 1927, so don't expect anything beyond like a dusty hunting knife or some fishing line, or maybe a hand axe if you're really fucking lucky. But not really. Like there's like tobacco and fucking shit that the townies would need.
I'm gonna go back and check out that the church.
The church?
Yeah.
Okay. So after the brisk and very brusque treatment by the general store lady, you kind of skitter across the street towards the church. As you glance to your left, your gaze kind of falls on the metal structure again. Something really bothers you about its positioning. You back up and you kind of look again. Yeah, Emberhead's central thoroughfare points directly at the structure. It's a bit too precise to be a coincidence. So you make a mental note and you press on and draw into the shadows of the church. The building's in a rather sorry state. The top of the steeple is missing, a ragged gash of splintered boards marking its absence, and the floors beneath have collapsed. It appears to have torn through the roof of the main building as it fell. That must have been spectacular in sound and sight. Only the back half is still intact. The white paint, which once covered the church, has yellowed and peeled. At least it's easy to remove and start again. Anyway, it seems safe enough to explore the rear section. Old pews are stacked against the wall, choked with mildew. Most of the windows are broken. You guess this church has been, disused for about 20 years. There's not really very much to interest you. Look at your ride skill. It should be over here on your left. Ride skill.
Ride?
Yeah, ride.
R-I-D-E?
Mm-hmm.
It's right here.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It's blank.
Oh, so it says, 5%.
Okay.
So you've got to roll 5 or under to get that.
So what I need, like a 0?
No, 1 to 4.
That's a 0.
That's a 100.
So I epic fail.
Yeah. So we'll just say that you just didn't make it. You're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, back to. There's not really much at the church that looks interesting. What else would you like to do?
Well, what are the other choices now?
You can go to the village hall. You can walk down to the lower level and check out the eastern road. Or you can go and look for locals that might have their own transport needs.
The lower level. I like exploring.
Mm-hmm. You should. You should always get familiar with your surroundings. And with that thought, as you walk down to the lower level where the east road begins, you take in the fresh air, and the walk down to the lower ridge is invigorating. Like this is the best part of this village that you've seen so far. You notice cultivated fields stretching through the lowlands around Emberhead like some hobbit village or pastoral painting. And among the crops, some livestock, but no horses. Are you really going to have to walk out of here on foot? Further down, the road skirts the edge of the ridge and descends. There are a few scattered hovels here and there with some signs of habitation, but they're substantially far apart from each other. As you examine these, a door opens and an older man steps out. He wears a bedraggled suit but carries a piece of cloth which he tosses over his head like a hood. And as he does this, he sees you and freezes. Make a luck roll. Your luck is right out.
60.
So
I got a 10.
nice. So that all right. So that's not quite an extreme, but that's definitely a hard success. Nice, John.
First actual success.
The man looks up the village, scanning the cliff tops. You get a brief flash of his face. There's something unsettling about it. And then he turns and walks away from the road. But as he does, he raises a hand and slowly beckons to you. Do you follow him, or do you think this is unwise?
I follow.
And as you gather your nerve, you follow the man around the outcrop. He glances up and steps between two rocks and vanishes. Closer inspection reveals a narrow channel leading into the cliff. There is just enough light to see a small, natural chamber within. You'll be uncomfortably close to this man if you do go inside. You want to follow?
Yep. I'm a detective.
With wary steps, you squeeze between rocky outcrops and enter the concealed chamber, almost banging your head on the low ceiling. The man settles back against the wall and watches as you draw close. Then he slides back his hood. Make a sanity roll.
50. You might want to keep that up over here.
And that, you can just, yeah, there you go.
10. See?
Okay. You don't lose any sanity on this one, but it does startle the fuck out of you. Some of the man's face remains. A strip from the side of his jaw to his right eye socket is healthy and pale, if aged. But what the left side? Oh, the left side is consumed by angry scar tissue. One eye droops, hooded by melted flesh, and the nostril on that side is pulled open to leave a gaping hole. The disfigured man studies your reaction with his one good eye. Name's Arbogast. William Arbogast. Guess I don't need to ask you what brings you to Emberhead. If you claim to come before the, do you claim to come for the festival, or do you admit that Silas has stranded you here?
I admit that Silas stranded me here.
The swollen mouth gives us a little twist downwards. Son of a devil has rat's blood. His fingers tighten into a fist. Arbogast fixes you with a lopsided yet intense stare. You seek me out, eh? Huh? He looks up the cave ceiling. Which one told you about me? Never mind. Doesn't matter. Truth is, they fear what I know. They never come to get me outright and directly. No. Don't want to end up like old Arbogast. No. The high-pitched sound is all the more grotesque coming from those bloated lips. Then, abruptly, his gaze turns to iron. Emberhead died 40 years ago. Shattered by flame. Consumed by the stars themselves. The ancient hill was cleansed by inferno, and from the blackened ground came new life, as was all things the Abenaki knew. Arbogast wipes his nose on his sleeve. Except none of that happened. The flames were turned away. The necessary death postponed a year, and then a year again. And now those up there, he stabs a scrawny finger at the ceiling. They think themselves the savior of the village. They think they can defy the great old ones. Cthulhu. And he shakes his head. With strange aeons, their lives matter less than the blink of an eye. A fierce intelligence burns in his gaze. But you suspect Arbogast may be quite insane. Should his mood change, it would not be difficult for him to seize one of the loose rocks and crack your skull with it. So, now getting this wonderfully intense introduction, would you like to question Arbogast about the Abenaki? Would you like to ask him about the Great Old Ones? Or would you like to ask him about the villages? Or would you like to leave while you still can?
I want to ask him about the Great Old Ones.
237. Smile of sickly rapture comes over Arbogast's scarred features. The Great Old Ones? The Windwalker? Cthulhu? The crawling chaos like the rest of them, spread like gnats upon the earth. You think your actions matter? Yes. You think your existence matters? No. We are the dust that shifts in the breeze, the motes that drift in the last rays of sun. You are nothing. We are nothing. He gathers himself into a seething silence. Just when you think the sermon is over, he stirs. Here, you are closest to the living flame. Now, that belching green column, beloved of Kingsport, not that. I mean, it which preceded all life on earth. It which lit the void while our world was still forming. It has infinite fuel, infinite patience. It will consume all. Arbogast runs a hand through his hair. A wide strip is missing on the left side, displaced by scar tissue. He climbs to his feet. And you may permanently add 2 points to your Cthulhu Mythos skill. So Mythos, Cthulhu Mythos is over here. It would be Mythos. Cthulhu Mythos, yeah. So put 2 there. Actually, I'm sorry. Put it right there. Sorry.
Am I able to make another choice and pick his brain more?
Hold on. Okay. 250. Arbogast pauses in the shadows.
There's something about you.
Something the previous ones never had. Perhaps you can make it through. Yes. If you would like to hear more, you gotta meet me after dark. Can't do anything during the day. It's not good.
9 o'clock.
The graveyard on the other side. Lifts gnarled finger. Don't you be followed, else I won't be there. This is not the time of year for a showdown. Arbogast wipes his nose on his sleeve again. You go now. The eyes, they're always on me, always. And stranger, don't try to run. You'll never make it. And he pushes you out into the sunlight, and you're left blinking, a little shaken. You have discovered a secret. Later tonight, the text will offer you a chance to follow up on the previous. So basically, I'll let you know when you have the chance to go. So, I'm assuming you're going to want to go and meet him, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have time in between then and now? Or now and then?
And no, you're only going to get to pick his brain once.
I mean... time... He already kicked me out.
Yeah.
So he's done and over with. Do I have time between now and then to do other things?
Oh yeah, no. Let's see where this kicks you out real quick. And I want to make a note of. Okay, so.
Because I want to go explore the cemetery.
22. Oh yeah, you're gonna be able to explore. You're gonna be able to explore the rest of the town. Yeah.
Because that's what I want to do. I want to go to that eastern exit, or that eastern road. I want to explore the cemetery and so forth.
Mm-hmm. I got me a little bit, like that. Like I like Arbogast. He's a very interesting character.
Sound like the Joker.
I've noticed halfway through that's what I was doing a little bit. But the way my head was kind of throwing it was kind of that way. I mean, he's already disfigured and shit in the same way kind of way. So he's crazy. Like, it literally told you, like, he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, for now, I mean, I think a lot of our voices that we have are informed by things we've heard. Like a lot of my British voices come from British comedies and shit over the years. People that I've talked to or
Doctor Who.
Yeah, some of that, yeah. All right. So you turn back to the road and your core business. Getting the fuck out of Emberhead and onwards to Ossipee, which is where you're supposed to connect to going further into Arkham. The ridge gives you a good viewpoint from which you can see the course of the road. It winds with the hills, disappearing into woodland for a while before merging further on. You lose sight of it somewhere towards a second patch of woodland. By your best estimation, that is at least 6 or 7 miles distant. And there are really no other settlements or traffic. It may be worth taking a chance and walk. The weather is still fairly mild, but you will need supplies before you attempt it. So, you've explored quite a bit of the town so far. The only things left are to go and talk to the local people with their own transport needs, or you can go and check out the village hall.
I thought I could check out the graveyard too.
That's graveyard's not a. That was just like part of. Yeah, that's not really anything.
Village hall.
Village hall. And people. The village hall backs itself against a cliff at the east end of Silbury Street, which I would say the village hall. Where the heck is the village hall? Yeah, that right there. Okay. At the east end of Silbury Street. It's the largest building you've seen so far in Emberhead, and it is, however, locked and shuttered. You walk around it, peering through gaps in the shutters. There seems to be one large room, presumably for community meetings, and a smaller annex that serves as an office and archive. One of the windows is bricked up. Back at the main door, though, you can see no posted opening hours.
Mr. Winters doesn't open up mornings this time of year,
Says a gray-garbed woman passing by.
Best come back, I'd say this afternoon. Sometimes, I'd say around 3.
You ask whether the office has a telegraph.
Dunno. Who the hell would we call?
You'll have to try again later. So at this point, you can go and talk to the artisans in town, which are right up there.
I think that's the last thing on the list.
Yep.
So I'll go talk to them. Hopefully it'll be late enough too. Where I can go back to the town hall.
Mm-hmm. So, as you're walking, you notice that it's not far from the Ledbetter house. On the north side of Silbury Street, there's an open courtyard. The rhythmic tattoo of a hammer seems to announce your approach. The courtyard is the busiest location you have yet seen in Emberhead. It's bordered by a ring of workshops. Some are brick buildings, some only rough huts. A blacksmith ceases to hammer, thrusting something red and glowing into a bucket of cold water. A weaver looks up from his loom, blinking at you for a moment before returning to his shuttle. A potter, engraver, and carpenter each work in their own spaces, exchanging friendly banter. You move among the artisans, chatting about their work, and eventually, you bring up the question of export. Some of them send occasional packages with Silas, Some restrict their custom entirely to villagers. You receive no suggestion about alternative transport. Make a psychology roll. That's going to be
40. 10.
Ooh, so
I win.
that's a hard success. But I'm just pointing them out so you know, like, the difference between regular, hard, and extreme. Make a psychology. 106. One of the workshops is shut, like completely locked up. When you stray close to it, the repartee between the craftspeople becomes very awkward, almost forced. Interesting. Check off psychology. Check off the box next to psychology, and you can roll to improve later. Psychology right there. Too, I said this is kind of like getting into the meat of the game when you're night or night 2. So that's about that for like what you can do in town right now. As you're back in about the middle point of town, your stomach rumbles, and you're kind of looking around for fucking food. You just kind of like. There's really nothing resembling like a busy cafe, like back in in your own town, or anything that might be called a restaurant. It seems like you're going to have to go and get supplies from the general store when Mrs. Ledbetter comes down the street with a girl trailing in her wake. This must be Ruth. As she notices you, she races past her mother and approaches you with a big, wide smile. This is a different Ruth from the shy creature of last night that was peeking through the doorway of his mom's bedroom. Remember that? As she reaches you, though, she stops and stretches her arms up in celebration. And as she does, she looks you in your eyes, and immediately the smile drops from her face and looks dramatically several years older. And she hisses at you. Get out before the festival. Get out. And she blinks hard, scuttles back towards her mother. May approaches, wrapping an arm around her daughter's shoulders. She smiles. Oh, how are you getting on? Have you found any transport yet? Startled, you explain the frustrations of the situation. Well, I'd try Mr. Winters in the village hall. He's always in the afternoon. But you look a little peaky. I would take a gander that you're kind of hungry, eh? If you are, and I know you are, help yourself to any food in the house. The door's not locked. You glance down at Ruth when where she has squirreled herself behind her mother's leg, and her eyes implore you to silence. Do you want to question Ruth about what she just told you? Do you want to ask May about what Ruth might have said, or do you want to stay silent on the whole thing?
I'm going to stay silent.
You take your leave of the Ledbetters and head towards their house. The door opens easily. In the low kitchen, you make a meal for yourself from stodgy bread and leftover stew. A little window offers a view to the mountains. Well, if you learned one thing this morning, it was that Emberhead streets hold little to occupy the visitor from from out of town. But there's still like 5 hours of daylight remaining. You could take some provisions and the bare essentials from your luggage and set out in hopes of reaching another settlement before dark, or like a couple people have now told you that you should go and talk to Mr. Winters. So do you want to head out, or do you want to go down back to the village hall and see what this is all is about?
I'm gonna head back down to the village hall.
Okay. All right. Okay. As you know, the village hall overlooks the lower north ridge of the village. You walk along Silbury Street to find it, conscious of the oppressive black metal structure framed at the end of the road. Once again, you note, just draws your attention every time you get near it.
There's something off with that.
The shutters of the hall are now open, and some windows are left open as well. There's no knocker, but a little bell over the entrance tinkles as you push the front door. Inside, a sturdy door to your right is marked private. To your left, an opening leads through to a brighter room. You take a few steps inside. Benches line the walls, and there are 2 notice boards mounted between the windows. Do you want to examine the notice boards first, or do you want to go and knock on the door?
Examine the notice boards.
The floorboards creak beneath you as you cross the room. You feel a slight spring in your step. Perhaps this room is used as a gymnasium for the village children some parts of the week. One notice board appears to be for the adults of the community, and one for the children. The former looks neglected, featuring handwritten advertisements for household items and a yellowed note about telegraph pricing. There is nothing about this festival that you keep hearing about. The children's notice board, however, has a schedule for weekly crochet services and a number of paintings obviously done by the children themselves. Most are incoherent, though colorful. As best you can tell, they depict fireworks, or perhaps the tale of Joseph from the book of Genesis. One has lost a pin and hangs upside down. It shows a giant bird attacking Emberhead. Or it may simply be the artist has not yet mastered the subtlety of scale. Mega spot hidden roll.
50. And I get 60.
No, failed. Wrong game.
Doesn't matter. I looked the part.
There is no tattooing. The door scrapes behind you. A middle-aged, bespectacled gentleman appears in the doorway. May I help you? You explain that you're visiting on May Ledbetter's recommendation. Well, I'm Clyde Winters. I'm not sure I can help you, but would you care for some coffee? I'm partial to a cup in the afternoon. Yeah, me too, buddy. Me too.
Any time of the day. Thank you very much.
He gestures to the open door behind him. This seems like a worthwhile opportunity, and, well, you are a little thirsty. You step through the door marked private. The other side of the village hall is in marked contrast to the public space. The room is compact, lined with shelves of books and file alcoves. One corner is reserved for a tiny pantry and was presumably a bathroom. You study Mr. Winters as he fills the percolator. Although although thin on top, his hair is oiled and neatly swept back. His suit is a sober affair, and well tailored, even if the cut is a little old-fashioned. A lesser man working alone might have loosened his bow tie for the comfort. On the desk against the opposite wall, you notice what looks like a telegraph set. To ask about you can ask about the telegraph immediately, or you can choose to make some small talk with Mr. Winters first. What would you like to do?
Make some small talk.
I gotta remember not to read the fucking just the inconsequential text. The pot begins to gurgle as you exchange pleasantries with Winters. It's a good, nice smelling coffee right there. Living here? Well, yeah. It's a trade-off, like so much in life. He looks past you at the high shelf. I could wish for access to a proper library, of course, but I know myself well enough. I'm strictly a dabbler, and the cities... his face wrinkles in distaste. Too many people. Everybody rushing and shouting this way and that. We've a special place here in Emberhead, and someone must accept responsibility for keeping it so. This was my father before me, and now the duty falls to me. He lifts his chin and straightens up. This evening, as the sun sets, look out at the landscape around the village. We have peace up here, halfway to the stars. Are we not privileged? Is this not worthy the hardships we must accept? He looks at you speculatively. This might be a good time to ask him about that telegraph before he gets into the flow of things.
What about that telegraph machine?
Telegraph? Well, much as we value our isolation, we do need the link sometimes. I assume you were hoping to send a message? I must apologize. The line has been down for about, 2 weeks now. I reported the fault, but, of course, they're not so speedy when the problem lies in such a rural area, and he kind of gestures airily at the mountains. I'm expecting a repair the day after next, and I do appreciate how frustrating this must be. The coach is due, and I'd say, what, 3 days? But I think he's going west. Perhaps you might engage a wagon? One of the farmers might? You explain that you've asked a few of the residents already, but to no avail. I tell you what. Winters pours you a steaming cup of coffee, and a dark liquid smells rich and gets right up into your nostrils, kind of perks your senses, and you feel a little bit less stressed about the situation for a moment. When the repair crew arrive, I'll ask them to take you back with them. How would that be? They might want $1 or $2 to grease the wheels. Well, day after tomorrow, that's less than ideal, but that this is probably the first real opportunity you've had about getting out of this town. At least that somebody's willing to let you,
right. That's better than I've got.
So feeling a bit more cheery now that you at least have options besides fucking footing it out 7 miles to nearest civilization. At least you can thank Winters and leave, or you did notice the library on the way in. Would you like to ask him about that?
Yes.
Okay.
I noticed you had a few books.
He kind of blushes with pleasure as you make as you made a it's a small but very flattering remark about a couple like this like it's a small library, but like he's happy. He says, well, of course it's not they're not my personal collection. They're the village property, communal and whatnot. But I did select most of the recent items. It's community library. I put up the private sign just to stop people from wandering in from meetings in the other room. But this is really a public space. And all this while you walk over and you scan the shelves. It's rather sparse, but respectable. A collection on mathematics and the sciences, passable sections on history and arts, and a shelf of literature. He has a few lowbrow novels tucked away in the corner with tatty copies of Bizarre Tales magazine in the other corner. Well, quality doesn't always equate to popularity, I'm afraid. And he gives you an apologetic smile. Would you like to take the time to do some research in the library? Okay. He is quite happy for you to spend the rest of the afternoon in study, and offers you an upright but comfortable chair, and you have enough time to pursue one line of research in depth. So, as you noted before, there's history of the area. There's some information about the festival. You can read something from the sciences, or you can read some weird fiction.
The festival.
You're being a detective in somewhat of an investigative background. You're not quite surprised to find that there's no published work on Emberhead's festival. Winters pokes around and finds a cased monograph, handwritten on yellowing paper by a Dr. Anielowski. An acquaintance of my father's, I believe. The manuscript is somewhat difficult to read, and you make rather slow progress. Anielowski speculates that the festival has its origin in pagan rites brought over by the Celtic settlers, which celebrate the ancient festivals of Beltane, Samhain, Imbolc, and Lunadsa. That's probably not how you say that, but I can't speak Gaelic. There is some discussion of the struggle between the seasons and a couple of oblique references to the alignment in Emberhead. Anielowski suggests that the meaning of the festival slowly changed around the turn of the century. The monogram terminates mid-sentence at the end of page 28, just as it begins to discuss the modern practices, of course. That's how it always is. The most important parts are fucking mysteriously just smashed to pieces or burned away or ripped conveniently away, of course, always. You inquire of Winters if he has any of the remaining pages, and rather sheepishly says, no, I'm afraid those have been misplaced. Perhaps they're in the library somewhere, but shucks. I really must make the time for a more thorough stock take. And so the afternoon wears on. You've not quite finished your reading when Winters glances out the window and stands up. Clears his throat. Look at your credit rating and see what that is.
40.
Okay. Make a credit reading roll.
20.
Okay, so you read that.
So I got a hard save.
Yeah, you passed for this purposes, but yes, nice, dude, nice. Succeed. 11. You've been very, very pleasant today. I'm happy to leave you in charge for, I don't know, about a half an hour or so. You can finish what you were reading. Please don't issue any books without a valid library card. And you thanked Winters for his trust, and you continue to read for a time. As the light dims, you find yourself yawning in the closeness of the room. Perhaps it's time for a change of material. Make a spot hidden roll.
40. 50.
Nice. 118. As you scan the shelves, you try to move aside one of the 3 volumes of Walpole's A Comprehensive Grammar of the Andean Peoples. It will not shift. And upon further inspection, you find the 3 volumes are actually glued together and attached to the wall. Is this some kind of unobtrusive way to reinforce the shelves? And you hear footsteps in the hall and on instinct move away from this curious discovery. If you haven't already, put a check mark next to spot hidden. The door opens and Winters re-enters the library. He wears a small, satisfied smile. His gaze shifts to you, to where you stand at the shelves. Exhausted our stock already? Of course, we do accept donations. He chuckles. But I'm afraid it's closing time. So you leave the building with Winters and wait as he locks up. You thank him for the coffee and the access to the library. And he kind of totters away down Silbury Street. As the light fades, you return to the Ledbetter house and eat a light supper. May is unusually taciturn. Ruth's eyes flick to you several times during the meal. There is an urgency there you can't quite interpret. Afterwards, May ushers the girl into their room. You've been in Emberhead for barely one whole day and you already feel confined, both geographically and socially. The evening seems to offer very little. And at this point, you kind of mull things over and you think, well, you can do some stargazing. You can attempt to speak to Ruth, or if you have a previous appointment.
I'm going to go with the previous appointment. Because as interesting as that book, those 3 volumes are stuck together, that might open a door. I'm going to have to go with the previous appointment. The warnings all around.
Arbogast is not at the appointed meeting place. You give him 10 minutes, but he doesn't show. You curse the old crank and head back towards May's house. Psst. A hand snakes from the doorway and grabs your arm. You jump at the sight of that half face glimpsed in starlight. One of them's near, he whispers, watching. Come with me. Arbogast leads you across the thoroughfares, slipping between houses. The metal structure looms at the end of the street, as always. Silent now, he says. But the beacon will come alive tomorrow night. He ushers you into a little alcove behind the village school. Arbogast glances behind you and then sits down. Again, you feel uncomfortable in proximity to that scarred visage. One melted eyelid lifts. You don't have long. I understand this. You must too. I was the conduit, the interpreter, before that fool Winters and his fancy words. The things which come to Emberhead care not for words. Those idiots, those imbeciles think this is a ritual of sacrifice. He spits on the grass. It is a ritual of control. Oh, they know the words. They say them, but they do not comprehend the forces that they call. He sniffs, sits back. No. You have no time for more questions. I will teach you how to end it. In the moment when all is lost, you can return this hill to the earth, to the death that came 40 years ago. I've tried it. I have, but I no longer have the concentration. The chant is simple. It I can teach you, but you must perform it with clarity of mind that I have sadly lacked for many years. Would you like to learn this strange chant, or have you had enough of Arbogast's bullshit?
I would like to learn the chant.
You feel very dislocated from reality as you sit on a cliff top behind a school at night, learning a chant by rote from a madman. Arbogast is very careful to teach you it in sections. He glances into the sky. Won't work right now. Clouds covering the star. But he still takes care not to pronounce the whole thing at once. It has a rhythmic beginning and various elaborations, but the core passage is repeated 3 times. Dear readers, I will attempt to relay to you what this sounds like, but my apologies. Naglui Miglavnef Thuga Formohat Naghaga Nafu Thagn Yakduga. In time, Arbogast listens to you recite all these words, these strange, incomprehensible things that your tongue can barely wrap itself around. Remember every sound. But never speak it if you have any plans left on this earth. You, dear readers, along with John here, have discovered a secret. If your situation ever becomes desperate enough to try the ritual, there will be a chance to do so. And maybe that'll happen. Depends on what dear John here does in the following night to come. Finally, Arbogast leans back. It'll make you one with the living. A black shape lunges from the dark and wraps an arm around Arbogast's throat and drags him backwards out of the alcove. He grabs at the arm, kicking empty air, and you see the gleam of a long blade in the moonlight. You, sir, need to make a dodge roll.
My dodge is 35.
Good luck.
20.
Sweet. Alright, so the second figure swings at you with some kind of blunt weapon. You shove it aside and scramble out, trying to find a more defensible position. A gurgle draws your attention. Arbogast has a hand clapped to his neck. Blood drips between the fingers and spills from his mouth. His assailant stabs again, the wet blade slicing Arbogast's wrists, even as it sinks into his neck. You see faces now, long faces daubed in some kind of tarry substance, eyes gleaming with hatred. Arbogast shoves his attackers off, staggering back, more blood cascading down his arm. The old half-man, has willpower. He plants his feet and raises a hand. Make a sanity roll. So
I got 70 and it's 50, so
you just failed.
yeah.
If you fail, go to 217.
Oh, lovely. I go slightly insane.
Faces loom at you, thick with blood and lit by inferno. Someone claws at you, tears at your flesh, flames dancing in his terrified eyes. You fall back. You lose 1d3 sanity points. Lose 1d2 hit points.
Alright, now I have to go get my damn freaking...
Yeah, you might as well. Yeah, get your d3 and your d2.
It's d4.
I can do it on we can do it on auto roll on here. We can do it this way. Okay, so lose 1d3, 1d3. There you go.
1.
Okay, so your sand drops to 49. And then 1d2.
2.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. Handy to have for small stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go to here. You awake with a jolt, wrestling the blankets, ready for an attack. The Ledbetter's guest room is quiet, painted with morning light. There is nobody here but you. You release the blankets and wait for your heart to stop hammering. The Ledbetter kitchen is empty, although bread and eggs have been laid out for your breakfast. There is a note from May explaining that she has taken Ruth out for a few hours. You make a quiet circuit of the village, pausing in unobtrusive places to watch the villagers. It is rather busy for this time of the morning. Yawning locals stream back and forth along the roads, carrying bundles of split logs to the site of what you've heard referred to as the beacon. You see two figures already up in its superstructure arranging the wood. The festival bonfire will be most impressive, but do you intend to stay to see it lit? You suspect by now that something is amiss here. While the villagers are distracted, you may do some illicit investigation, or you may simply leave town without looking back. So, at this point, you can search Miss Ledbetter's bedroom, go down to the village hall, or go alone to the village hall, take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard, spy on activity at the beacon, or slip down to the east road and flee for good. So you literally just woke up. And
I'm gonna see about
yeah, it is the way it went. Like you literally, like you woke up like at go.
I'm going to well, the town hall is probably closed and locked. I'm gonna go back down to the artisans. Oh, well, you know, screw it. I'm gonna see about searching Miss Ledbetter's
Bedroom.
bedroom,
Okay.
especially if she's not around.
Despite her hospitality, you do not trust May Ledbetter. You return to her house quite openly. Where else would you go? Inside, the dwelling is still empty. You rap on the bedroom door and wait. Silence. You ease it open. The Ledbetter bedroom is in marked contrast to your own neat space. Dirty clothes are piled about the floor. On a rough quilt lie school books and cheap novels. You notice a raggedy old doll discarded from the side down the side of the bed. Make a spot hidden roll.
80. So no, I didn't get it.
Okay. 18.
Epic fail.
So you go through the Ledbetter's drawers. The only item of interest you find is a wedding photograph. May's husband was a wiry man with a square chin. Despite the formality of the pose, you can see the affection between them. You feel a pang of guilt at your intrusion. Also, May might return at any time. You can choose to push the roll at this point. But if you don't want to risk it, you can skip and move on.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna try one more time for that spot hidden roll.
Okay, go ahead and do it.
10.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I was sweating.
You notice scrapes on the floorboards corresponding to the legs of the bed. With effort, you slide the bed away. There is a rug spread beneath it, and beneath the rug, a trap door. You ease it open. The dark space beneath is some kind of cellar. Do you want to go down, or do you want to?
I want to go down.
Okay. 1,000. The daylight barely offers enough illumination to see, but a hot lantern during daytime would be a very suspicious thing. So you squeeze beneath the floor and glance around. Your first impression is that May keeps her junk here, for there are many boxes of different sizes piled in untidy heaps. It takes a few seconds before you realize that all of them, every single last one of them, are traveling trunks or suitcases. There's like 20 of them down here. The implications hit you hard. Yet, you maintain enough control to check the luggage tags, even though your hands are shaking at this point. You count 8 or 9 different names before you stop. Scrambling back up to the bedroom, you close the trapdoor with trembling fingers, returning the bed to its place. You feel a deepening unease about Emberhead and this day in particular.
You're gonna go to the town hall.
To the village hall?
Yeah.
Okay. 26. Keeping away from the streets, you skirt the northern cliffs and approach the village from the rear. It is close to the beacon, and you will not be able to use the door unobserved. You check the windows. the one on the east side, facing the beacon. It's bricked up. A shutter is loose on the westernmost window, and you are able to ease it open and slide inside, closing the shutter behind you. We drop into the village meeting room and pad through, passing through dim shafts of light and listening to the excited chatter of the locals from outside. The door opposite reads private. Hearing nothing from the other side, you turn the handle. The room is lined with books. In the corner is a small water bathroom and a pantry. A quick survey of the rest of the room reveals little, so you turn to the bookcase. The dim light makes it difficult to read the spines. Is there anything useful here? So you get a bonus die towards your spot hidden. So make your spot hidden, and you will take the lower of the rolls.
30.
So, yeah. Okay. Okay. If you succeed, go to 1. You're looking along the spines when you notice how close the bookcase is to the window on the north wall. From outside, there's a solid 3 or 4 feet between the edge of the window and the wall. And the bookcase covers the wall with the bricked up window. Further examination reveals an ingenious arrangement of slipcases physically attached to the shelves. When you pull to the left, an entire section of the bookcase swings out. The clatter of activity around the beacon seems to be building, and you flinch at every single conversation that gets too close to the building's door. Would you like to investigate behind the bookcase, or close it and make your escape while you can?
Investigate behind it.
Curious little investigator. You squint into the darkness behind the bookcase. It is a small alcove, just big enough for one person, and has a hidden shelf on either side. You can't make out any of the titles in this light. You can risk opening one of the cliffside windows a little to get some light, or you can grab a few books and leave. What would you like to do?
Grab a few books and leave.
Okay. You slip from the building, clutching some of the more portable volumes. In the shadows behind the artisan's courtyard, you examine them. To your disappointment, 2 or 3 are in a script unknown to you. Another appears to be in Egyptian symbols. There is a spidery, handwritten copy of something named the Emerald Tablet. But perhaps most intriguing is a small book of strange poetry, bound in black, published in Boston in 1919. The cover reads, Azathoth and Others, by Edward Derby. You'll have to hide the larger volumes, but you can pocket the Derby book. The Derby book, a week of study to fill in. Okay. So the Derby volume will require about a week of study to fully comprehend. If you survive this adventure, you may read further information about it. Now, so you have a few more options. You can go take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard, or you can spy on the activity at the beacon, or you can slip down to the east road and flee for good.
I'm going to check out the artisan's courtyard.
You approach around the back of the buildings in Emberhead's northwestern corner. By this time in the morning, you would have expected activity in the artisan's courtyard, but the benches and the anvils sit deserted. Your footsteps echo off the surrounding walls. One of these workshops is shut and padlocked. You peek through the joints, but you can see nothing inside. You can try to crack the padlock. You can try to physically break into the locked workshop, or you can move on to another area.
I'm going to move on to spying on the beacon.
The northern side of the village is bustling, and you are unlikely to remain hidden there for long. You head in the direction of the church and then move up the east side behind the houses. A drop looms on your right. One particular section of ground is quite narrow, and you have to hug the building for support. Okay, compare your size to your dex. If your dex is higher, we go one way. If your size is higher, make a size roll.
My size is 40, my dexterity is 70. Dexterity is higher.
Okay. Okay. The turf sinks beneath your feet and stones crumble from its edge. Alarmed, you grip the building and ease yourself forward. Finally, you have a good spot to watch the beacon. And as you lie concealed in the grass, you can watch the activity around the beacon. Villagers bring in yet more bundles of tinder and stack them in neat piles. Another shift passes the bundles up to a pair of men standing on the raised platform of the beacon. They are constructing a triangular structure resembling a gigantic campfire. As you watch, you are struck by the manner of the laborers. This is their festival. You would expect a cheerful atmosphere and some lighthearted conversation. Yet, strangely, the faces of some show resignation and detachment. Others, naked dread. You watch for a good half an hour before you slip away, and that's the end of the ones. Let's see.
Am I able to go to one more place?
Okay, huh?
Am I able to go anywhere else?
No. As you're contemplating whether you're able to go check anything else out, you are you see one villager, a bald man with a damaged ear, watching you intently. And so you get the feeling, you get the back of your neck when you get the instinct to go walk in the other fucking direction from this dude. And as you do, you see the others ahead and to your sides. A wary teenager, an evil-eyed matron, and a man hefting a club. They're not staring as obviously as the first, but they keep you under watch. And they are closing in. You're not strong enough to overcome four of them at once. You can... do you want to try to lose them among the buildings, or do you want to make a run for it?
We're going to try and lose them among the buildings.
You dart down an alley, then turn and head in a completely different direction. Running feet sound behind you. For the first time, you feel Emberhead's cramped, chaotic streets work in your favor. And you try to circle around towards the southern road. Make a stealth roll, my friend. Yeah, you're gonna have to learn your sheet anyway.
90. Epic fail.
Okay. You turn that corner a little too quickly and walk straight into the formidable woman with the malevolent stare. She grabs you by the shoulders and bears down on you. As you struggle, the man with the club runs up with the teenager, and you are quickly overcome. The fading light from a narrow window tells you afternoon is giving way to evening. Your hands are shackled behind your back so you cannot even lie down on the rough bed. A woman you have not seen before comes in. Her face is wrinkled and her eyes dull. They do not meet yours, but she puts a cup to your lips. Do you accept the drink or do you reject it?
Reject it.
You turn your face away, and when she tries again, you dash the cup from her hands using the side of your head. The clear liquid spills across the floor. The woman gives you a half shrug and turns to leave the room. You shout after her, but she gives no reaction. You soon become thirsty. Prick. No. As the light fades outside, your little prison becomes dark. You can hear much activity around the building. Occasionally, an orange glow passes the window. The only comfortable position in the shackles seems to be to sit against the end of the bed with your arms hanging behind you. You need to concentrate and come up with a plan. There is clearly no escape from your bonds. You do not know exactly what your captors want from you, but you cannot ignore the fact that they have spent their entire day constructing a massive bonfire. Sometime later, the door scrapes, wrenching you back into the moment. Orange light spills into the house from blazing torches held at the threshold. Two large villagers step in and grab you. At least you assume they are villagers. They wear heavy black cloaks, and their faces and hands are painted entirely black, save only for a red triangle centered on their left eye. You try to drag your legs, but they reach under your arms and lift you bodily from the bed. Outside, it seems that the whole village has congregated to see you. Every single last one has a blackened face with the red triangle motif. Torches sputter and spill fire. You struggle, but you can see physical resistance is hopeless. You are marched to the central street and turned to face the beacon. The procession down the approach is slow and formal, save when you sense weakness and yank at your captors. A chill touches you when you see three human shapes carried ahead of you, draped in red cloth. The beacon looms larger and larger, its dreadful silhouette a black triangle pointing to the stars. A low drone begins among the cloaked figures. Unbidden, the word mourners come to mind. Smoke from their torches makes you cough. You feel heat on your face. As you reach the cleared area around the beacon, three dancers break from the pack. Young girls swinging balls of fire in spectacular arcs, drawing circles in the night air. One by one, they draw close to you and touch your forehead with sooty fingers. Each kisses you 3 times. On the left cheek, the right cheek, then the forehead. Then they whisper in your ear. The smell of kerosene fills your nostrils. Make an appearance roll. It's one of the main ones up here.
50. 30.
Nice. Let's go to 2. Through your sacrifice, the village will be reborn, says the first dancer. You pass from the earth to air for all our sakes, says the second. I've weakened the chains, says the third. Don't try to escape until the flames are high enough to hide you. You stare at the third dancer. In that inky visage, you clearly discern the frightened features of Ruth Ledbetter. Their dance weaves off and disappears behind the buildings. As you arrive beneath the beacon, 10 villagers close in on you. Working with surprising coordination, they immobilize you and lift you to the blackened iron stairs to the raised platform. You cannot help but shiver at the sight of the central framework, twisted from past blazes, and what you can now clearly see to be fastening points for chain. None of the eyes meet yours as they lash you to the metal. The village sings now, something rhythmic and ancient, carved from old syllables. Odd syllables. A second group ascends to the beacon, carrying the 3 red-draped bodies. With reverence, they arrange their burden in a triangle around your feet. Then they withdraw, leaving you alone with the dead, shin-deep in a sea of kindling. Well, it seems the entire village is gathered around the beacon to watch you burn. Behind the face paint, you recognize May Ledbetter, and yes, that is Silas, the coach driver, standing at her side. That bastard. The audacity and scale of the deception staggers you. A man steps up on a dais and raises his hands with quiet authority. The frame of his spectacles obscures the red triangle on his face. So we draw here together again on this night, as we do every year, and we give thanks to the one who will preserve the village against the fire of the void. You will be taken by the ones from above in our stead. Your death will bring life to our streets and bounty to our fields. It will safeguard our children and our elders alike for another year. We salute you. He bows his head. All around the beacon, bearers step forward and lift their torches to the edge of the raised platform. A ring of tiny flames flickers up around the perimeter. As they wink, the singing of the villagers drops into an earthly rhythm. So at this point, you can attempt to throw all your remaining strength against the bonds, or you can wait to see what happens.
Right now, I'm going to wait to see what happens.
The flames snake across the kindling, catching and rising. Smoke rises, and it becomes difficult to see the villagers. The 3 bodies surrounding you catch fire, blazing with sooty red flames. You begin to cough as the smoke enters your lungs, and the stench of burning meat and wood, just kind of like a sickening, toxic barbecue. And you really have to fight down the urge to panic. If you have learned a strange chant and wish to try it, this is probably the moment. Otherwise, you can wait and see if you can break the bonds. It's up to you.
I am going to try the chant. Well,
okay. Yep.
No, I'm gonna break the bonds.
Okay.
I'm gonna break the bonds, and then try the chant because I'm pretty sure I need clarity.
All right. So we'll say that you didn't do the chant. Let's see this because
I need a clear mind and a clear enunciation. Inhaling smoke is probably not a thing to be doing.
Okay. All right. So let's see how I'm going to do this.
Okay. Oh, now you're kind of confused, aren't
Nope. Okay. So you said you want to wait. You want to try to break your bonds first? Okay. If you fail, you're gonna die. So you can either like okay, so it's gonna give like all right. Yeah. So if you pass the strength check here in a minute, then yes. But if you don't, you die right here on the spit. So you can either do that chant.
I'll do the fucking chant. Fuck it.
Okay. So we add 10 to 50.
Fucking chant.
I mean it yeah. Okay.
Do the fucking chant.
Okay. The flames draw closer as you bring Arbogast's chant to mind. It is hard to clear your head as the heat grows beneath your feet. You cough and splutter, but you sustain the words. Finally, you reach the key passage, and even as your clothes catch fire, you yell for the third time, Nglui Mgluafnath Cthulhu, Famarhold Naga Gagnaga Nafladen La Cthulhu. The swirling tongues of flame and fire around you stop in mid-air. The people around the beacon freeze, their black painted faces bleached and stripped as a second sun opens in the air above Emberhead. And in an instant, glorious instant, the people, the village, the hill, all are consumed and incinerated by impossible proximity to sheer combustion, the essence of fire. Though your body is bound to the beacon, your being is freed. As a spark, you race into space, catapulted through the vastness of the void. The stars burn past you with incomprehensible velocity. And then you are home. Forever you will dwell here at Fomalhaut, where the flames ripple and flow through immense space to the rhythms of the universe, where planets themselves move and tilt through unutterable wheels of fire, bound to the clockwork chaos of the living flame. And among the flames you will dance. You, my dear John, have single-handedly destroyed a section of New Hampshire about 16 miles in diameter. This has also killed you. The end.
Well, damn.
And so, so you can choose to. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. Subscribe, share. I have been American Gnome Productions. You have a great night.